I
It
mean,
doesn't
but
matter.
yeah, you can't have no weird stuff in it, like no bologna,
What else do you
tuna,
consider weird?
um,
What's an anomaly for gumbo?
that bologna,
Vienna sausages,
Vienna sausage,
wieners.
wieners.
I've seen some weird things. You all are doing
I'd
the
imagine
most.
being around
Eggs, boiled eggs, corn on the cob, But like I
corn on
said,
it.
okra, is it gumbo without okra? Coming from New Orleans, I grew up, at least for me, I had filet gumbo, I had okra gumbo, and later, as the years went on, my grandmother would do a seafood gumbo. That was something new, but I didn't learn about chicken and andouille until later in life. That isn't a Creole thing. It's a Cajun
Mm-mm.
thing. So that was something different, something new.
Right.
So what type of gumbo did you grow up with?
So my grandma gumbo, obviously, you already got this. Always my mom. She had. I feel like it was normal to me, but it was shrimp, some crab, maybe a hot sausage, rice, and then the roux and all that. I think that's
Traditional gumbo.
yeah.
Traditional. Well, that's what I do. When I make my gumbo and I go out with my gumbo on the road, I let everyone know. I make the distinction because they're looking for okra. I'm like, no, this is a Seventh Ward filet gumbo.
Mm.
And they're like, what is that? And then I explain it. A lot of people outside of Louisiana don't know what filet is. And if you don't know and you're listening, filet is ground sassafras. It's just a powder that we use in gumbo. It's green, it's a thickening agent. And I like the flavor of filet, to be honest. But it does. I put filet in my okra gumbo as well, but it is different from okra gumbo. When you add your okra in, it's smothered okra, just like what was pictured in my video, but I would add water and it would be like a soup.
Mm.
So, right, are you familiar with okra gumbo, Naren?
I am, yes.
Yeah, so you know the distinction between the two, correct?
I would hope so.
Yeah,
Honestly.
right. Because I wanted to clear up that confusion. You have smothered okra in New Orleans and you have okra gumbo. They are not the same. Smothered okra, for the process, anyone listening, the process is I would fry the okra down and I would add a little broth or water or whatever you choose to use, tomatoes, tomato paste, and my seasonings, my proteins, for instance, my sausage, crabs, and shrimp. Then I would cover it and let it cook down. That's different from okra gumbo. With the okra gumbo, I would make a roux. So it would be completely different. But while we're talking about gumbo and ingredients, like we said, there are different foreign items that people are putting in the gumbos now. Tomatoes. What about tomatoes, Naren? Did you grow up with tomatoes in gumbo?
Yeah, I never had a
Yeah,
tomato
no,
in it.
that's a Cajun thing, right? It isn't Creole. That's the difference between Cajun and Creole kitties. But yeah, that's another item that people do. Tomatoes, I see it all the time. I'm not a proponent of that. That the wieners, oysters is another thing. Oysters, for me, my grandmother would do it every now and then. She would throw oysters in the gumbo, but it would completely change the taste. I'm not a fan of it either. And also stock. Everyone makes it differently. Some people use the chicken stock and some people use seafood stocks. Most New Orleans gumbos are made with the seafood stock. I have friends that are from away and they use chicken stock most of the times, and it doesn't really have a gumbo taste to me when you use just primarily a chicken stock. Have you ever made gumbo, Naira?
No, I haven't made it.
Are you going to come in the kitchen to help me and
I would
learn?
love. Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. As Graylin be saying, I would love to do
Whenever
that.
you are ready, because the recipes have to be carried down, and I want you to share them with people you know. So I do.
Absolutely.
I want you to come and make gumbo with me.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hold you up to it for sure.
Absolutely, we're gonna do it. Which consistency do you like? Because that's another question too. People always say it's not thick enough or it's too thin.
Hmm.
So, do you like it thick as gravy, or do you like it more soup-like and thin?
Oh man, you actually, I just like to eat. So if I could prefer, maybe thin, depending on how good the roux is.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that. Because I don't think that I don't really like the gravy. I don't like gravy. I want it in between, not too thin and not too thick. But if
Exactly. Hmm.
gumbo, I should be. And also the color. Do you like a dark roux or do you like a blonde roux or just a in between?
Dark.
You like it dark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that like it dark. I like it in between as well. I don't
Okay.
want it too dark. I think that's the Cajun thing too. They blacken everything. We don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the
So,
mystery, the scoop. You never know what you're gonna get. Oh, all right. Yeah, give me the shrimp.
right, right. And I noticed that most chicken and andouilles are really, really dark. It's a really dark roux because again, it's Cajun. It's a Cajun thing, and they blacken just about everything. But like I said, people are doing different spins and different takes on gumbo. I did a gumbo cook off. Ironically, let me share this story with y'all. I won't say who, but I did a gumbo cook off, and it was several different entities participating, and we all did our a gumbo. They told me it was gumbo. Now, I'll tell you what won. The gumbo that won
Mhm.
was a macaroni and greens gumbo. Now, the people who put on this thing, it was for charity, so it wasn't a big deal. But the people who put on this thing, they have a company that's in Austin. They brought their company, their restaurant company from Austin here, and they won with
Mm.
the greens, collard greens, and macaronis in a gumbo. It was. I was like, if you'd have told me to cook greens, I would have cooked greens because I knocked
Right.
that out of the park. But you said gumbo, so I did a gumbo. There were so many different spins on it. Someone did a duck gumbo. Somebody did a vegan gumbo, and it was not like Mrs. Chase's.
Mm-mm.
But it was so many different things. But I don't know about that. That was something. Would you try that?
I don't. I was gonna ask you. So, like, what makes it? At what point is it not gumbo? Like, is that so? If you just call it gumbo and put whatever you want in it, is it still gumbo?
I'm not, see, no, I think gumbo is sacred. Yeah, I'm very judgmental when it comes to gumbo. Yeah, pull
Mm.
your lid back, let me look at it. Really. I mean, for me, gumbo is sacred. There's one gumbo. I don't like too many variations where like corn on the cob, eggs. You're doing succotash at that point. You've passed gumbo. You're beyond gumbo.
Right.
And like if it's too thick, it's a bisque. It's not a
Mm.
gumbo. For me, I mean, you know gumbo when you see it, you know it when you smell it, and you know it when you taste it.
Right.
You know, so again, if they would have asked me to make greens and macaronis, I could have did that too.
Right. Like you blew my mind
So
with that one.
yeah, but I do some things I do like different spins, like the duck gumbo. That was something new. It was a really dark roux. It was really good. One of the chefs that I really like, he did that, and it was really good. But we all were like blown away that won because you showed up and you were cooking gumbo, and anyone in New Orleans would look at that sideways, right? What is collard greens and macaroni and chicken broth? It's not gumbo. It's not.
Yeah.
You looking at me bewildered, like
But
real
when you
for
said
real?
it, I was waiting on like just kidding. But now you was they really
No, I'm
presented that at
serious.
a
They won. They won.
macaroni.
And like I said, it was for charity. And then you win and then you donate to the charity of your choice. They won and they donated to the charity that I wanted to. So it was a win-win for me. It was a win-win. But I had a bunch of people. This was uptown too. A bunch of people from Audubon. So you know what kind of a crowd it was. Uh, she came up. She was like, "You're the only person out here with real gumbo. I
Mm.
can taste it. And you have a seafood stock. The rest of them have chicken noodle soup." So I just stand there with my mouth wide open. I was like, I'm not going to argue with you, sis.
Right. Eh,
But yeah, gumbo is a very testy subject. I see so many memes and posts ridiculing like people spin on gumbo because it is. It's a very, very great debate. And it looks like we have someone who called in. Let's go ahead and take that caller. Hey, Herm. How are you doing today,
Hey,
Herm?
how you doing today? I didn't catch your first name. I'm sorry.
This is Chef
I didn't-
Bunny.
Hey, Chef Bunny, how you doing?
I'm doing
Okay,
great.
so
How about you?
I just chimed in. I'm loving your conversation because to me too, gumbo, New Orleans style, is sacred, right?
Absolutely.
Growing up in the growing up in the 60s and the 70s, there was only one way to cook gumbo, and as you have mentioned, it was either filet gumbo, seafood gumbo with filet, or an okra gumbo, right?
Yes,
The
you have broken
three
it down perfectly.
exactly. So they were different. So I'll give you a funny story. All right.
Go right
So
ahead.
my wife is from Lake Charles, Louisiana. All right. I met her while she was attending Xavier University. So we end up getting married, right? So my wife goes, I'm going to cook you a gumbo. I went, oh, okay, no problem. So, go off to work, come back. She's cooked the gumbo, puts the gumbo in the bowl, and it's chicken and sausage. I go, it, what is this? She goes, this is a gumbo. I went, no, baby,
Where the
this is
crabs
not
at?
where's shrimp at, sweetie? You know, where's the bay leaf,
But
right?
you married a
Uh,
bayou woman.
exactly. She grew up, as you've mentioned, in West Louisiana, where the Cajun style, the dark brown roux, mixed in with chicken and sausage. It was what they called the gumbo.
Correct.
They,
Correct.
yeah, she never put shrimp or crab in her gumbo. Never did. Over the years, she likes the way I cook it, the way you cook it. I'm sure. Seafood gumbo, crab, shrimp, sausage, a little oysters, and the Trinity and filet with bay leaf, and then
And
it's a
gizzards.
fantastic gumbo. Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. We'll give it, and it's a fantastic gumbo. She loves the way I cook it. But
Because
guess
she had
what?
a taste of real gumbo.
But guess what? I've kind of gotten accustomed to her little gumbo. She does it delicious now. Don't get me wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
it tastes good, but it's not what you and I would consider a
Right.
gumbo. But
I've grown
in her
accustomed to it.
community,
Chicken and
but in her
andouille.
community, yes, it's a gumbo. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, and she does the dark roux, I'm sure, as they do in the bayou.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
I like it. I've grown accustomed to the chicken and andouille gumbo, and I get a lot of requests for it. Sometimes people who can't have seafood, they'll say, "Can you do a chicken and andouille gumbo?" And I
Yeah,
learned because again, like you said, that's not a New Orleans thing.
yeah,
It isn't. It's a
yeah. And
Cajun
just
thing.
a
It isn't
side note,
Creole.
yeah, and just a side note to her being from Lake Charles, and again, growing up in New Orleans in the 60s and the 70s, I didn't know what boudin was
Yes,
till I took
boudin.
her. Yeah, till I took her home one weekend. She goes, "We got to stop at the convenience store over there and get some hot boudin." I went, "What is that?" So boudin, in my opinion, didn't make it to the New Orleans market until like the middle '80s and early '90s. But growing up, I never ate boudin until I married my wife from Lake Charles, Louisiana.
You're right
I didn't
about
know
that.
what
It
it was.
wasn't a New Orleans thing. We ate chorizo, hot
Yeah.
sausage. Right,
So,
correct, absolutely. And we put it in our gumbo. I've grown to love boudin. How about you? You like it now?
oh yeah, oh yes, I do. Yes,
I like the
absolutely.
crawfish, the pork, all of them.
Yeah, yeah. All of the above from A to Z. Exactly.
So tell me this: does your wife put tomatoes in her gumbo? Because that's a
No.
Lafayette thing too. No tomatoes.
No, no, that's a
Okay.
forbidden practice. That's a forbidden.
So it is forbidden for her too, because I know in New Orleans we're not doing it. We're not putting tomatoes in gumbo. And so who does it
No,
then? Who's responsible
no,
for this catastrophe?
that's for Italian dishes. Tomato sauce is for Italian dishes.
Yeah, you're right about that. But somebody's doing it because there's like people are like, "You're from Louisiana, and where are the tomatoes in the gumbo?" I'm like, tomatoes. Again, we do it in the
Right.
okra. I put tomatoes in my smothered okra. I wouldn't put it in my
Yeah,
okra gumbo though.
exactly. Exactly. If
It's a
you're going to
difference.
smothered okra, there's a difference.
Right.
Exactly.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize until I made this post that smothered okra was so regional because most of the people on TikTok that were on the West Coast and from up north, they really, they thought it was gumbo and they wanted to know what the tomatoes were. Well,
Yeah.
tomatoes were there, but they thought it was gumbo, which should have
Yeah,
told you
because
it
they
wasn't.
associate okra with Southerners, right? So they think it's something they put in the gumbo. But actually, to me, my favorite is actually fried okra. So
I love fried okra too. I
I'm
had
good.
some the other day at this place and it was amazing. They did a spin on it. It was like this lemon dust on it. I'm not going to say where it
Oh
was, but it
God,
was amazing.
I
And they
love
did
it.
them whole. They fried them whole. It was really, really good. But thank you, Herb,
But I
for
can't
calling
believe.
us today. We're going to go ahead and take a break
Thank you.
and come
No,
back
no
after
problem.
the
Thank
break,
you for
okay, and
taking
take
my.
some more calls.
Thank you for taking my call. Appreciate it. Okay,
Call
bye
me
bye.
again. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.
Crawbabies inside of Vaucressan's Creole Cafe, serving the best authentic Creole food in New Orleans. Gumbo, yakami, smothered okra, seafood potato, crawfish etouffee, and more. We're located at 1800 St. Bernard Avenue in the heart of the 7th Ward, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Ask about catering and event space rental. Follow us on Instagram at Eat Crawbabies, NOLA, on Facebook, Crawbabies LLC. Y'all know I'm all about keeping it authentic and keeping it New Orleans. And when it comes to my Ramalai or dressing up a perfect po' boy, there's only one mayo that's been doing it right since 1927, and that's Blue Plate Mayonnaise. Born right here in New Orleans, Blue Plate uses only egg yolks, just like my grandmother Viola taught. That's what gives it that extra rich, creamy texture that makes everything taste better. You know what they say, that's the good stuff. Blue Plate Mayo, made in New Orleans and made to make everything taste like family.
WBOK. Online at WBOK1230.com.
And welcome back to the Roux Chef Buddy. We're in the middle of a heated debate about gumbo. So today, like I said, we're talking about gumbo. I wanted to know because for me, gumbo, it just exemplifies, for me, family. Growing up, gumbo was a team effort. You have so many components. It's a labor of love, just like crawfish bisque, but you have so many components. I had an aunt. Her name was Louise, Mary Louise, and we called her Louisa. She was responsible for chopping the seasoning. No one could chop seasoning like her. We had another person who peeled the shrimp, peeled and deveined the shrimp. You had someone who fried the sausage, and then you had somebody who manned the pot, who did the roux and did the stock and did all of that. So, how was your process growing up? Did you watch your people cook gumbo growing up? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, like I said, my grandma, she did everything. Honestly, she was the chopper, the slicer.
She did it all herself?
Yeah, the veiner. Mm-hmm.
I'm that person now. But I remember, for me, that was my view watching it. And it's always, till this day, when I smell gumbo, I think about Thanksgiving and I think about Christmas because that was, like I said, that was when we ate gumbo. It was holidays because it was such an arduous process.
Right.
You know, and that was when everybody congregated. So you had somebody, you peel a shrimp, you do this, you do that. Now, for me, of course, I do it all myself. But it's a dish that brings people together. When you cook gumbo, everybody's coming with a bowl. So, are there butter containers? To get the gumbo. And then they're freezing it and everything else. But it is, for me, gumbo it's something that brings everybody together. And it is a dish that you make together. I really want to share that with my girls. Neither one of them know how to make gumbo yet, and I'm putting y'all on blast. I hope y'all listening.
Oh.
But I don't want to lose that recipe. I don't want to lose that tradition, and it is a bonding process.
Right.
My oldest has asked me to teach her. She just never really sat down, and I've always offered. When they watch me make it, they don't want to help. All you got to do is ask them to peel shrimp, and they scatter like roaches. Yeah. So I know by you being a guy, you probably didn't really, have hands on with that, but it is. We need to keep those traditions going. We need to keep that in the kitchen together, talking about the gumbo, talking about the experience. And also, when you're making gumbo, by being such a long process, that's how I learn things in life. In the kitchen, gumbo time, because you're there and the things you hear, the valuable life lessons that I learned all over making gumbo, over a pot of gumbo, were invaluable to me. And here I am today. I can make gumbo with my eyes closed. And it's my go-to dish when I participate in a lot of different events. For instance, when I did the NFL event for Super Bowl, I chose to make gumbo because I want to do a good representation of a New Orleans gumbo. Right. Because you know as well as I do, Naira, when you go downtown, what do you get? A commercial gumbo.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely not like your grandmother's gumbo.
Definitely.
Because everyone that I get that comes over to the cafe, they're like, a lot of people, tourists especially, that have had gumbo downtown, they're like, this isn't like what I've had. This is like, I can tell it's authentic. Yeah, it's my grandmother's recipe, you know? So where's your favorite gumbo in the city right now?
At my grandma's house. But I had to find that out the hard way, because I guess I was just craving it, and I haven't been by my grandma's house in a minute. Because I was in school, so I came home, it was a weekend, we was out with the friends, I was showing people around. They were like, what do you want? I thought, I feel like eating gumbo. So I think I ain't gonna say what we was. I can put them on blast.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna say who it was.
Yeah, we're definitely downtown though. Just like you said, they put that ball on my plate and it looked like gumbo when I put it in my mouth. It was like,
what is this?
Yeah, like where the love at? I think that's exactly what I said. What the love was.
Yeah. I learned a long time ago. I know. That's just it. I won't eat gumbo. I won't eat red beans or anything like that downtown. We do it better. We just do. You can go to someone's kitchen and get a better. If you know, you know.
Right.
But not a diss to anybody because everybody has their thing. But if you're from New Orleans, you're not eating gumbo in the French Quarter. That's just a fact. You're not. you're not. So and when I think about it, I mean there are plenty gumbos that I like. I love Lil Dizzy's gumbo. It's one of the best. I love mine.
Yep.
Obviously. I love Dookie Chase's gumbo, clearly, obviously, especially the herb gumbo. That's one of my favorites. But I mean, yeah, that's about my short list. My grandmothers have gone on to glory, and my mom, she has other talents besides cooking. So, I mean, I have to do the gumbo cooking now. And that is another thing. It's something you inherit in your family.
Mm.
That's when you become a big girl, when you can make a pot of gumbo. Like I always would say, before I started cooking professionally and cooking just in general, I would always say, my mom makes the gumbos for the holidays. And she did for years until we retired her. She got confused with like cilantro and parsley. So
Mm.
it was like, Mom, we got to hang it up. But clearly, for me, I inherited it. It was like, when my mom stops making the gumbo, I'll start. And I did.
Mm.
And eventually I'll pass the throne on to my girls
Right.
because it is that way. That's the way gumbo works. Somebody in the family has to do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, a manning of the pot, the roux and the stock. It's a lot of hands, but that's the main part of it. When you do the roux and you do the stock, you made the gumbo. So, yeah, eventually I'm going to have to pass the reins on too.
Yep.
But I want you to learn how to make gumbo because more
I'm
men need
telling
to
you,
know how to make
I'm
gumbo.
gonna get Zoe to come with me too. We both gonna
Yeah,
be in it.
so are you too. Yeah, absolutely. You a single girl. One day you may be married. And you got to make gumbo because look, girl, I've been married twice. And I know my gumbo has something to do with it.
Come on now.
Yes. So, yeah, tell me something else about gumbo that a good memory of yours with gumbo that involves gumbo.
A good memory. It just gotta be like I
Waiting
love the
at
big
that-
pots. That's
So-
something I could keep going back to. Like I could eat it all day, every day, and I just keep scooping.
You like me. That's my favorite meal.
Mm.
People ask, what's your favorite meal? Gumbo. Duh, I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah.
It is, though.
Yeah.
It's my favorite meal. Always. If you ask me, it's gumbo. Mine, but gumbo.
Right.
It's my favorite meal. And like I said, we all have those memories. For me, I do. My memory is tied to Thanksgiving. Like I said, the gumbo was like it was the centerpiece. It brought everybody together, and then you waited for the grand finale. We couldn't eat until afternoon, and that was the day that you used the good dishes. You went in the china cabinet, and you sat at the formal table at my grandmother's house with the arms, chairs with the arms. That day was the only day you could go in there. So, but the gumbo, that was what I always waited for. Like the smell, I remember it. And when I smell gumbo to this day, I always think about the holidays. And I say that sometimes in my kitchen. I'm like, when you smell gumbo, I'm like, doesn't it feel like Thanksgiving?
Right.
But it's a good nostalgic memory. Yeah, but we do in New Orleans, I guess we do have to become open-minded and welcome all of these new spins on gumbo and takes on gumbo.
We have to. You said we have to.
I mean, I can be accepting without indulging.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And like I said, I'll give anything a try. I'll try it, but I don't want to call something gumbo that isn't. Let's just say that. And also, gumbo is not a soup. Let's say that too.
Mhm.
It's gumbo because
Right.
that's another debate. People are like, it's a soup. I'm like, it's not. It's gumbo. Think about it.
Right.
It makes me think of chicken noodle or something. It's not that. It's
Yeah.
not. It's gumbo. It's standalone. It's its own thing. And like I said, again, in my roster of soul food, it's the blackest dish you can find, gumbo,
Mhm.
because gumbo is straight from Africa. The word itself is an African Angolan word, which means okra. And I always say this when I have the opportunity. Okra got to New Orleans by way of the enslaved people who were brought over here on those ships and who put okra seeds in their scalps because they didn't know where they were going. And it was the food that was indigenous to them, and they wanted to have something to eat when they got wherever they were going, and that's how it got here. So again, it is the most soul food you can find. It's the blackest dish you can find, and I stand by that.
The more you know.
The more you know.
I gotta
Did you
look.
know that?
I didn't. That's why I said it. That was a good little history
Yes.
lesson too. Tell you what, the Roux got it all.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is. And filet, sassafras, all of that, that's all, it all traces back to the motherland. So yeah, when you think of soul food and you think of our impact on cuisine, there it is. Straight from the motherland in the
Mm.
scalps of enslaved ancestors.
Oh yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I think I like gumbo even more now. That you told me
Right.
that. I'm gonna feel like I'm
Every time I cook okra, I think about that. And also, just as a by and by, back in the day, okra wasn't like now. You know, okra it was a black thing. I'll say it. It was 19 cents a pound. You couldn't give it away.
Mm.
Now, because it's on everyone's radar, it's $6.99 a pound. And I always say affectionately and lovingly, if my grandmother wasn't dead, she would die again.
Mm.
At it being $6.99 a pound, because it was 19 cents at Circle Food Store, because I walked enough times to get some and know
Mm.
that what it was. But now, of course, it's gentrified. So, yeah, but we will always hold okra sacred. We will always hold gumbo sacred. We will always look, what's in your gumbo will always be fighting words in New Orleans. That's just what it is, because it is. It's our sacred dish.
Absolutely. Can't go wrong with it.
At
Well,
all.
you can go wrong with it, but if it's right, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, because I've seen some, gravy. That's what I said. It's just the only way I could describe it. It's parallel to gravy.
Yeah. that.
But I'm glad we got that off our chest. So we'll be back next week with some more hot topics, and I'll have another guest next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Roux with Chef Bunny today. We're sponsored by Blue Plate. Check it out. They have a new line of different mayonnaises, new flavors. Try them all. I'll see you all next week.